Hi, it's Katrina! From hidden treasures nobody came back for to an entire arena for gladiator fights, here are 10 amazing recent archaeological discoveries. Number 10. Calatrava La Vieja. Over the past few decades, archaeologists have discovered 4 separate treasure stashes at the ancient walled city of Calatrava La Vieja in Spain's Ciudad Real province. Nicknamed the City of 4 Hidden Treasures, the fortified medieval settlement was established around 785 AD. 2 of the hoards discovered there date back to the 9th century, during the age of the Muslim emirs in Spain. The other 2 troves date back to the 13th century. The first stash, which contained over 100 coins dating back to the 9th century, was discovered in 1960. Unfortunately for archaeologists, the farmer who found them sold almost all the coins. In 1995, a construction worker discovered the second hoard, which consisted of around 400 grams of silver coins from the Umayyad emirs of Al-Andalus and other Islamic dynasties. Archaeologists found the third trove of 71 coins dating between 1212 and 1217 during the reign of Alfonso XIII in 2004. But that's not all. The most recent find, uncovered in 2010, contains 29 coins that were minted between the end of the 12th century and 1264. The treasures were likely hidden during times of instability and perceived danger. At its peak, Calatrava La Vieja had an estimated 4,000 residents. The city fell into decline at the end of the 13th century amid decreased military importance as the war line between Christians and Muslims moved further south. Researchers describe these discoveries as evidence of how movable fortunes were hidden in secret places, and a reminder that not everyone who hid their treasure survived to retrieve it. Number 9. Sarcophagus in an olive grove. For thousands of years, the story of the Trojan War was believed to be mostly myth, since much of it was written by Homer, who was a writer and a poet and liked to embellish things. Ancient historians questioned the account of the siege of Troy and how much of the epic story of love and war is actually real. Scenes from the battle have been found on artwork all over the ancient world, and even though the lost city itself was found in the 19th century, the details remain murky. In 2015 and 2016, archaeologists uncovered a marble sarcophagus dating back to the 2nd century BC. Taken from a necropolis known as the City of the Dead, located in northwestern Turkey, the place is constantly monitored by police to prevent thieves from stealing precious artifacts. A nearby olive grove has become the center of a lawsuit since it is an archaeological site, and there were rumors that illegal excavations had found something very interesting. Whoever found the sarcophagi removed them and took them to a museum. Now there is a fight as to who owns the artifacts, who has to pay for excavations, all kinds of problems, and now the woman that owns the olive grove has a major headache to deal with. While all of this is going on, the sarcophagi are now safe and sound, and historians examining them at the Iznik Archaeological Museum found that they had small statues depicting the warrior Achilles and the Greek king Agamemnon, as well as sculptures representing the spring, summer, and autumn seasons. The sarcophagi tell the story of the Trojan War. One has a relief of Eros with a lotus flower, and it's believed it was used for the burial of a queen. It is the only one of its kind ever found. Number 8. Botched seal. During the 13th or 14th century, an aristocrat in eastern England used a silver seal bearing an engraved design called an intaglio to sign and authenticate documents. Recently discovered by a metal detectorist in Norfolk, the badly burned seal was set with a Roman-carved gem. But according to experts, the person who used it was likely unaware of this. Inscribed with an image of a winged figure holding a spear, believed to be the Roman god Mars, the artifact's owner probably mistook it for being from the Mediterranean and the time of the Crusades, rather than from Roman Britain, according to Norfolk Finds liaison officer Helen Gake, who spoke with the BBC. It's encased inside a silver seal matrix that would normally be flat, but is lumpy and rounded due to heat damage. Geek explained that seals like this were primarily used for authenticating or signing a document written by someone else. Because of the damage, the inscription is proving difficult to decipher, but someone with a seal like this was likely an aristocrat or someone high up. And while the person's identity is a mystery, at least for now, it's safe to assume that they were a baron, a bishop, or another member of the 1% at the time. This is the fourth seal matrix found in Norfolk out of just 50 that have been discovered worldwide, and this particular example is the only burned one, leading Geek to speculate that perhaps it was damaged by accident or in a forest fire. Either way, in her words, it's seen a lot of action. Number 7. Mysterious sacred structure. While excavating at Istanbul's historic Haydarpaşa train station recently, archaeologists discovered the ruins of what they describe as a mysterious structure, likely dating back to the 3rd century BC. Found beneath the station's walking platforms in the ancient city of Chalcedon, also known as the Land of the Blind, the building is shaped like an apse, a vaulted space usually in the shape of a semicircle. This feature is common among ancient churches, and experts believe that the roughly 2,500-year-old building is the oldest structure among those excavated so far, and that it was considered sacred to those who built and used it. In addition to the building, archaeologists found objects dating as far back as 6 BC, such as pots and coins, and an array of buildings, including one that may have been used as a warehouse and a collection of structures that could have been a small summer palace. Excavations at the site began in 2018 after the train station was closed for renovations. The discoveries are offering unprecedented insight into the ancient civilizations that once populated Anatolia and Istanbul. Number 6. Stolen artifacts found. In May of this year, Italian police announced that fragments from 6 frescoes that they believe were stolen from Roman villas in and around Pompeii during the 1970s have been returned to Italy. 3 of the pieces, which date back to the 1st century and depict a cherub playing a flute, a dancing woman carrying a tray, and a woman's head, were taken from the ancient coastal city of Stabiae, which is located roughly 2.8 miles southwest of Pompeii, and it was also buried in ash when Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD. The artwork was smuggled across international lines into collectors in the United States, Britain, and Switzerland during the 1990s. A cultural protection squad working under Italy's Carabinieri police seized the frescoes last year as part of a larger investigation into stolen and trafficked archaeological goods. The other 3 frescoes were seized in 2012 after police caught the thieves illegally excavating them red-handed from a villa in Civita Giuliana, which sits just a half-mile northwest of Pompeii. Inside the same villa, where excavations began in 2017, long after thieves had tunneled their way in, archaeologists discovered the remains of 2 victims of the eruption, who they believe were a master and his slave. To law enforcement and experts alike, the return of the ancient works to their rightful place is cause for celebration, especially amid heightened efforts to combat artifact smugglers. Number 5. Mysterious runes. While examining a cow bone dating back to the 7th century in the Czech Republic, archaeologist Alina Slamova noticed some unusual scratches. Upon further inspection, experts identified the markings as Germanic runic letters. The discovery upended the previously held belief that the Slavic alphabet was not used until the 9th century, leaving archaeologists shocked. These runes could change history. They do not know who carved the inscriptions, but a new study suggests that the author was a Slav who had learned the Germanic alphabet, or someone from a Germanic tribe living in a Slavic region. Expert Robert Nedoma identified the writing specifically as Elder Futhark runes, a 24-letter alphabet that was used from the 1st to the 7th centuries by German-speaking peoples of Central Europe. In an official statement, the scholars clarify that the bone contains no specific message, but instead bears the alphabet's last 7 letters and contains several mistakes, suggesting that it was a learning aid. Tensions between Slavic and German people have continued into modern times, making the discovery especially significant. It has given rise to increased animosity between the 2 groups today, and proposes the very realistic possibility that literacy was achieved in the Slavic world much earlier than previously thought. At the very least, researchers hope that this leads to further discoveries of runic lettering that will help them fill in critical gaps of its history. Number 4. Burial in a bed. Archaeologists at Kozani in northern Greece recently revealed the surprising discovery of the bed and remains of a wealthy 1st century woman bearing ties to the god Apollo. Uncovered between 2018 and 2020, it constitutes the first known discovery of a preserved bed in Greece, as well as the first time someone has been found buried in this fashion. The bed survived for thousands of years, mainly because it was made from bronze. It had wooden components which deteriorated by the time it was discovered. Last year, archaeologists constructed a replica of the bed, complete with the missing parts. This fascinating discovery confirms that ancient Greek people were buried in their beds. The identity of the woman remains unknown, but it's evident that she was wealthy or perhaps even a royal due to the array of luxury items found buried with her and the golden laurel leaves on her head. She died when she was middle-aged, and if she wasn't rich, it's likely that she was a religious authority of some sort. Parts of her bed were adorned with mermaid heads, as well as an aquatic bird with a snake in its mouth, which is a symbol of the god Apollo. The leaves on the woman's head were also likely symbolic of Apollo, who is characterized by the laurel tree and leaf. Ongoing tests should reveal the woman's age and cause of death, and archaeologists are currently working to create a life-sized replica of her bed. Number 3. Roman Gladiator Arena. Last summer, archaeologists discovered the remains of a Roman-era theater in the ancient city of Mastara, located in modern-day Turkey's Aydın province. The 1,800-year-old structure once seated as many as 20,000 spectators, but is now mostly underground, according to project survey leader Mehmet Umut Tuncer. The team that made the discovery first noticed sizable stonework sticking out of the ground. They got to work excavating the building and protecting it from nature and the elements, and meanwhile dated it to around 200 AD. The arena was built during the Severan dynasty, which encompassed 5 emperors and spanned from 193 to 235 AD. For the most part, the structure is well preserved, with some rows of seats, the building's supporting walls, and the arena where gladiators fought remaining intact. It was smaller than the Colosseum, with 82-foot-tall walls and a central arena measuring 131 by 98 feet. Mastara was very developed and rich at the time, thanks to Roman administrators who focused on the city's economic growth, according to the study's authors. The increased variety and volume of Mastara's coins during that time period are a testament to its growth. Along with these improvements came the arena, where visitors placed bets on gruesome gladiator and wild animal fights. For those who could afford it, there were entertainment rooms for private spectators, and the building also had waiting rooms for the gladiators. It's the only known theater of its type ever found in Anatolia. Consequently, it attracted spectators from neighboring cities and all around. For now, the team's goal is to clean and preserve what's left of the arena, then to do geophysical surveys to better understand the parts of it that remain underground. Number 2. The home of Harriet Tubman's father. Last year, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service purchased a 2,600-acre plot of land on Maryland's eastern shore for conservation purposes. Known as the Peters Neck property, it's part of the Blackwater National Wildlife Refuge, which has lost over 5,000 acres of land to rising sea levels since it was established in 1933. This particular area, however, is projected to remain above sea level at least until 2100. Additionally, officials speculated that the property might contain the home of Harriet Tubman's father, Ben Ross, and they were right. In late April, archaeologists announced that they had discovered the site. Located near the Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad Visitor Center, the 10-acre parcel of land was bequeathed to Ross by his enslaver, Anthony Thompson. Ross received the land and his freedom in the 1840s, 5 years after Thompson died, according to the slave owner's will. It is here that a young Harriet Tubman, then named Araminta Ross, learned some of the valuable navigation skills that she used for escaping and helping escaped slaves reach freedom along the Underground Railroad. A team of archaeologists began digging last November, and after getting off to a frustrating start, they found a $50 coin from 1808, the same year that Ben Ross and his wife married. Although the home's foundation was missing, they uncovered numerous other 19th century artifacts that helped them identify exactly where Ross lived, including nails, brick, glass, dish fragments, pottery, and a button. The discovery was made just in time because although the land is predicted to remain above sea level for some time, it's not immune to the effects of climate change, and there's a good chance that it will soon become a marsh. Number 1. Ancient tools. Located in South Africa's northern Cape Province, Wonderwerk Cave is full of clues about our prehistoric past. Here, there is evidence that human ancestors were crafting stone tools as far back as 1.8 million years ago. The tools were found in a layer of sediment within the cave that also contained animal remains and fire remnants. Using several dating methods, experts determined that the shift from simple Old Owen stone tools, such as sharp flakes and objects used for chopping, to more complex objects like basic hand axes occurred around 1 million years ago, which is also when our ancestors were first known to deliberately create fire. Wonderwerk Cave is quite possibly the oldest known home that was inhabited by early humans. First excavated in the 1940s, it contains a plethora of artwork and other artifacts reflecting a long history of use by our predecessors. And these discoveries are helping researchers piece together the little understood timeline of human evolution and migration, as well as how these things relate to climate change. Thanks for watching! What was your favorite discovery? I kind of liked the burial in a bed. That was weird. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye!